Hey art nerds! Today we are taking a brief look at the Marley Marbles Artist Watercolors. These are handmade watercolors made here in Nashville, Tennessee. So I picked this tiny little watercolor tin up from Porter Flea, which is sort of a handmade sort of gift market in December here in Nashville. It's got a little bit of cachet to it, but I picked this little watercolor set up at Porter Flea. Marley Marbles had two sets available, this set and a neon set. I'm always a little bit iffy about neon watercolors because neons tend to come from dyes. There are no pigments that are quite that fluorescent, at least none that I've heard about, but you can let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. So I typically tend to stay away from dye-based watercolors if I'm making things for other people, if I'm making things to sell. So I decided to pick up her other little watercolor set. Now, if you're interested in checking out more of her stuff, you can find her at Marley Marbles, and that's probably on Instagram and Twitter as well, or mollymarbles.com. And this business card is a beautiful piece of marbled paper with a small tag attached. And I think she's better known for her marbled paper than she is for her watercolor, so perhaps you know her from her marbled paper. But inside this tiny little tin are 5 very full little half pans of watercolor. They have been labeled, so we have Chartreuse Sheik, and then there is a small magnet attached to the back. There's also a swatch card included at the top of the palette. So in this set, we have Chartreuse Sheik, Marble Blue, Molly Mint, Apricot Jam, and Marble Red. And I'm trying to find which set this would be on her website. I don't think it's actually listed. So, oh no, wait, this is the favorite handmade watercolor set in matte. And that is what I picked up. And it is the last set that she had available, but she also has a neon set and a sparkly holiday watercolor set, but only the neon watercolor set is still in stock. Let me see if I can actually get them all back in. Yes. And she said that her watercolors were quite popular with brush letterers and with watercolor artists. So as a Nashville area watercolor artist who enjoys buying local and who loves being able to buy art supplies made in the US, I thought I would give them a shot here on this channel. So we are going to be doing our swatching on Fluid 100 cotton rag watercolor paper. These are matte watercolors, so they don't have any mica, they don't have any shimmer to them. I wonder if by matte she also means opaque. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up our little swatch sheet for opacity testing. So I have laid down 4 lines of pigment ink. This is Pentel pigment ink, and it should be completely waterproof. Sometimes I will also use a Copic marker for these sort of tests. I did not today. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and add a drop of water to each of these half pans just to give them kind of a chance to pre-activate. The very first thing I'm going to do is oh, that's so cute. So the little swatch card also has a magnet so you can remove it. That's handy. I usually end up taping mine in there. So I'm going to go ahead, and as I fill out, oh, okay, this was printed on a DeskJet printer, so be careful not to get your water on top of the lines. Next, I'm going to do our swatch here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a gradiated swatch. And then once these dry, I'm going to do a mass tone swatch at the bottom. So that was Apricot Jam. This is Marble Red. be a little more careful not to touch the lines. All right, next we have Chartreuse Sheik. It's also room to write it in. Trying to make sure I'm always on camera. I have it pulled in really tight so you guys can see what I'm doing since this is a smaller set. Next, and I'll zoom out a little bit and pull back a bit. Next, we've got Marble Blue, which is a nice kind of phthalo blue color. And then finally, we have Molly Mint. And I can see why some of these colors were chosen as the favorites. The yellow and the red will mix well together to form nice oranges. And the chartreuse is almost a yellow. It's like almost a vibrant yellow or a neon yellow. And that would work well with the included blue. And the mint, just a pretty color. And it seems like the mint is going to be the only opaque color, which is a little bit surprising. I thought they were all going to be a little opaque, so I'm glad to see that they're not. I personally prefer translucent colors. Okay. Now, this is such a tight turnaround space. It's pretty easy to get your colors all mixed up. So I'm going to allow these to dry. And then we're going to do our mass tone swatches at the bottom. So while these dry, I'm going to read to you from the site about these watercolors. Each color is molded by hand on a glass slab and contains only pigment/mica, natural gum Arabic binder, and local Tennessee honey. No fillers or other additives are used, and this creates a strongly saturated, vibrant, smooth watercolor paint. All colors are then hand poured and dried in thin layers, so 2 to 3 times, to produce a solid color-packed result. She does warn that some cracking may appear over time, and it does not affect the usability of the paint in any way. And then she talks about the half pans having a magnet on the bottom for convenience, and they each come in a custom tin. So, pretty neat local watercolors. Nice to be able to say local watercolors. I think she was the only one at Porter Flea selling these, so I was excited to pick some up. These have mostly dried, and these have, still wet in some places, but they're dry enough that I can put them back into the palette. So we're going to start with Apricot Jam, which is a really lovely color. These are also very quick to activate and even a little bit soft. So you want to be kind of careful that they don't absorb too much water and they don't get goopy on you. So maybe a little bit of pre-activation, but not too much, because they thicken up really fast and their full strength colors are very intense, but they seem fun. This seems like a fun little palette. I really love Marble Blue. It's a very pretty sort of ocean water blue. And then finally, Molly Mint, which while it is somewhat opaque, it's not fully opaque, which is interesting. I thought this would be the one that would get really, really opaque on us, but no, not so much. So we're gonna let these swatches dry and talk about it then. So while these mass tones finish drying, I'm going to do a little bit of very basic color mixing just to kind of see what we can get. So we have Apricot Jam. We have Marble Red. Probably not going to fit them all here. We have Chartreuse Sheik Chartreuse. I get a little skinnier though, I can fit the other two. We have Marble Blue. Woo! And then we have Molly Mint. Okay, I'm gonna let these dry and then I'm going to do crosswise glazes and we'll see what kind of color combos we come up with. So these have dried. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to do a thin glaze of each color. And I'm going to start, since we already have Apricot Jam, I will start over here on Molly Mint. And I'm going to do it really thin so that we can fit all 5 colors, hopefully. Now we have Marble Red. Next we have Chic Chartreuse. And y'all, I'm so proud of myself for remembering these names because I'm usually not great with marketing names. All right, Marble Blue. Helps though that there's only 5. And then we just can squeak in Molly Mint. And because these are hydrophilic, since they're honey-based, they're going to absorb extra water from the atmosphere. You want to take care to make sure they don't become soupy as you paint, because then you may pick up extra pigment. So there is a very quick little swatch chart. So I think this is a really charming little set of watercolors. I paid $35 for it, which is about $7 a half pan. That's a little bit more than you would pay for commercial watercolors, but these are handmade. And anytime you purchase something handmade, you do need to keep in mind that these are not mass manufactured. They are not using huge machines. They're not automating large chunks of the process. This is one person milling the colors, mixing the colors, doing the 2 to 3 pours per color, packaging the colors, and they're very well made little watercolors. And I really look forward to putting these to the field test and playing around with them a little bit more in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this unbox and swatch. I always enjoy playing around with handmade watercolors, and while it's not something I've done too much of in the past, I do have another video on this channel, the Antithesis Arts video, where I looked at their Meadow palette. And if you manufacture watercolors and you're interested in having an illustrator do an unbox and swatch, feel free to hit me up through my email. And I will work to continue to collect and test handmade watercolors in the future, since I feel like I've kind of hit all of the major manufactured brands that I think I want to hit other than Schmincke. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you'll check the description below for the link to Molly Marbles' watercolor and marbled paper. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye guys.